What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters? I'm One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 2, and June has been very busy over the years. Spoiler warning for all things Fear the Walking Dead and the Walking Dead universe. So June is the focal point of Season 8, Episode 2, and I have to say it's a much better episode in my opinion than Season 8, Episode 1. But June, Sherry, Dwight, Finch, which is Sherry and Dwight's son, but June is the focal point of the intro right there. June has been busy. She's taken fingers. She used to work for Padre, doing scientific research, radiation therapy, working on a cure, doing that. I mean, she's been busy since she went to Padre and over the 7-year time jump. But we see her getting her kit together, and I have to say, you would never want to recap a needle. Like, it's kind of tough to do. But they did it here, and I guess she had to put it in the thing and do that, so she saved it and protected it. But it's kind of dangerous. You may poke yourself. That's why you don't recap a needle. And we have a little blade here that she saws trigger fingers off. I guess you're assuming that someone's a right-handed person or a left-handed person, but you're just taking their right trigger finger with the blades and the surgical knife. And like it's just crazy what she's doing all this. You got a lot of time on your hands in a zombie apocalypse to do this here, and she's pretty safe to be doing this. And all I could think of is that June was like Rambo. She was a mix of Carol and Daryl. Like, it's just kind of crazy how far this character has come since the first time we met her. And I like Jenna Elfman. I like June. I think she's one of the newer characters. I like John Dory as well, but both of them got killed off. But June is a character that I like on the show since they kind of rebooted the series. She's doing the cauterization of the fingers to stop the bleeding. And yeah, we're like, wow, she's doing a lot of stuff here, which is kind of crazy. I just kept thinking of Rambo over and over again with the little montage of putting the stuff in. And she's got her tranquilizer gun. And yeah, it was kind of a good episode, I thought. What did you think, guys? Post your comments below. Again, I thought it was much better than the Season 8 premiere. But June is looking out for the patrols. She's posting signs to warn people about Padre, because Padre is bad. And I wonder if we're going to get the answer in the first 6 episodes, the first part of the final 12. Is Padre connected with CRM? Are they raising children to fight for the CRM? Because that would be a pretty cool connection. I think that would be something that makes sense. So we see a walker, just here in the swampland area or the marsh or whatever you want to call it, and June takes out the walker. Right here, I'm just like, man, it's like Jungle June, Rambo. Like I said, I can't help to think that she is a mixture of Carol and Daryl put into one character here, and it's pretty cool. A good mix of a character, even though it kind of seems a little far-fetched what she's turned into, but the zombie apocalypse, you'd be surprised how it changes people. So she sees the patrol of, I guess, collectors, and we're trying to figure out, like, what is she doing here? So she tranquilizes the 2 collectors, and I had to point this out, that her gun goes to 11. 11. Ours go to 11. 11. That's one better than 10. Hopefully you know the movie. Let me know in the comments if you know what movie that's from. But she sees the patrol of Padre, and she takes him out while she tranquilizes them. And they're like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And then it turns out that she's taken their fingers like trophies. Like Daryl used to do with Walker ears, was taking the Walker's ears as trophies. And it's a lot of work. Like, you got to inject here, and you got to tie it off or whatever, and then you got to just make sure you're getting the knuckle and not getting in the way, and the tranquilizer's there to keep them there, and you got to put the thing here, and you got to it's just a lot of work to take a finger. And I'm like, man, I get the point of it, and it's kind of cool and kind of gross and kind of terrible all at the same time, but it just seems like a lot of work to be doing this to prove a point. Like, they're never going to hurt people again. Why not just kill them? Less collectors to worry about, right? But I guess it makes you feel better, like you wounded them and scarred them instead of killing them. Like, I'll show them I'm going to take their fingers. But then you leave them alive, and you run the risk of them coming back around to hurt you. Like what she kind of did with Shriek or Shrink or whatever the lady's name is. Reminds me of Beaker, that lady. So we see that she's the torch and then cauterizing the wounds that she made on the fingers, and then she pushes the raft out, the boat, and then she keeps the fingers there. And so if she takes a couple at a time, she's filling up a lot of jars here, right? So if you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, you got like, I don't know, 6 fingers in there. That's a weird little trophy. Reminds me of the governor. Then we see that someone is replying back to her posters. Who are you? Where do I find you? And it's Adrian. Hey, yo, Adrian. Adrian, hey, man. So Adrian comes in. He's like, I have a daughter, Hannah. And June's like, I don't care. I don't care who you are, who your daughter is. That's not my problem. Like, June doesn't have any reason to stay alive. And they point that out in the episode. Like, she's got no reason to live. She's got no reason, no purpose. But then the purpose is to maim and hurt the collectors. And then we see the picture of Hannah. And I hope that he's got another picture, because if that's the only picture of Hannah, you wouldn't just leave that with a stranger. Then Adrian leaves, and June decides, what to do. And she thinks about it all night, I'm sure. And we find out that Hannah is a walker later on in the episode. Then we see the new patrol that's going out in the same waters, the same stuff. And if it's happening in the same area, wouldn't people be on the lookout for June? Like, does June have to keep moving? Different patrols, different areas? But, either way, June takes out a couple different people here. She tranquilizes them, and she actually kills the one guy because he drowns, and she puts him down. Then we see, and luckily it wasn't Dwight and Sherry, because they're in the boat as well, by accident. Dwight, Sherry, and their son, Finch, they're going to get medical attention because they believe that he has an appendicitis. And it's by chance they wake up pretty quickly from the tranquilizers. I don't know how quick the other people woke up, but Finch takes the gun and calls Padre because he doesn't know June. And, Dwight and Sherry wake up very quickly, I might add. But June grabs the tranquilizer gun, and Finch fires it and damages the raft, the boat, and they can't use the boat anymore. So June puts 2 and 2 together about who this boy is and what they're doing here. And I have to say that Dwight and Sherry and Morgan and really everybody are just letting Padre have these kids. They're not really fighting for their kids. And if it's really 7 years later, and Red Kite, that's a terrible name for Dwight. Dwight Red Kite rhymes, like Lark Clark rhymes. Pretty funny. But June doesn't care what Dwight and Sherry are doing, but this wasn't part of the plan. She doesn't want to hurt them, and she finds out that Finch is going to need surgery, and they're not going to make it in time, so she has to do the surgery on Finch. But where are they going to do it? They can't do it here. They can't do it in there. They got to have, a spot. But June knows a place because June evidently used to work for Padre. So everybody got jobs, except for Victor and Daniel, I'm guessing, because they're probably part of the resistance or the group that's going against Padre. But it's just kind of funny that everyone just got a job so easily. Like, why did Padres think they were worth keeping around? But it is what it is. I'm just asking questions for discussion. I mean, not picking on the show. I'm just asking general questions. So they go to the train, which used to be a research, testing area, test subjects. A's and B's? No, nothing to do with that. Talking about radiation therapy that was designed to possibly treat the virus or bites, right? So we see radiation safety and what they're doing there in the train cars, which, wouldn't be easy to find, I'm guessing. And this place has been neglected for a long time. Very apocalyptic, very post-apocalyptic, and just what it would look like, spider webs and just looking gross. It's not very sterile here, that's for sure. But this is the best place they can find. And they're like, are you sure about this place? And there's a lot of red in here. So we'll talk about the red theory. Does it strike again? I think so. But I had to laugh at this, CGI walker head. It's like, nah. It just looks pretty hilarious. But June takes out the walker head, and we find out what they were doing with these walkers, that they were letting the walkers bite people to run tests on them, is what I'm guessing is what it was designed for, because it actually happens to Finch, and it's kind of sad. But June takes out the walker head. Now it's safe. They got to kind of clean up the area a little bit so they can do surgery on Finch's appendicitis. So, for those who don't know, you can live without an appendix. They can take it out and you can be fine. It's a common thing they use on TV shows too. But they decide to clean up this metal tray here with some alcohol, and they're like, yep, good as new. So they put Finch in a hospital gown. I'm not sure why they had to do that. You could just expose the area right there in his abdomen. But they do, doing that, and they give him some medication to help him fall asleep and hopefully something for the pain because he's in pain. And I've never had an appendicitis, but I know people who have, and it's very debilitating. You don't want to get up, you don't want to move, you don't want to do anything besides have it removed. And it comes and goes as a sharp pain. It gets worse and worse when it's about to burst. But yeah, it's a very painful thing it can be. So they hook up Finch with an IV. Man, they got a lot of stuff in this train car, and he asks if it's going to hurt. It's a nice little moment with Dwight and his son, because it's got to be tough for Dwight to know that that's his son. Finch doesn't know that. He shows the air freshener, which is like callback to last season in the car wash area with the air fresheners and the automobile, the mobile, right? Pretty funny, but it's a nice callback. And so they're looking at what to do here. And as they're getting prepared, June asks Sherry to get something from a shelf, and she sees the research, I guess, chart. The charts there that are sitting there together. And why wouldn't anybody take this? I don't know. But you see some of the test subjects and the radiation therapy and where they were going and where the wounds were and how it wasn't working in 3 days and treatment. And you can, if you want to read it, you can see 2 days and 17 hours, 3 days and 10 hours. You can see the progress, what was made there. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like it was successful. And then we find out later that the radiation was ending up killing people. It wasn't actually helping them. It was hurting them more than it was. Even though it kind of helped the virus, it killed the people. So what good is it if it kills the host, if it kills the virus? The host won't survive. The person won't survive. But you see different test subjects here. And I don't know if Hannah was one of the test subjects, could be. And you can see Shriek in there, the beaker-looking lady from the Muppets. She's actually in some of the photos. And so they go into it a little bit more, like this changes things. You can't really do this to my son. You're not going to hurt our son. What's going on here? And as they're kind of talking, we see Adrian follows June. June doesn't really do well with making sure she's not followed. But Adrian ends up dying in the episode anyway. So Adrian, and we see his Walker daughter, Hannah. The electrical box gets shot by the gun in his hand when Dwight tries to take it from him, and that really triggers all the walkers. Like, it happens, the single gunshot, and then 0.2 seconds, there's a million walkers surrounding the train car. So it's just pretty funny how there's so many walkers around here. When in doubt, just throw some walkers in here to ramp up the drama. Adrian's people try to reach him, but they don't. So I'm wondering who is in the group that Adrian is a part of. I'm guessing it's Daniel and or Strand or both, but hopefully we'll find out next week. But again, the train cars get surrounded by a bunch of walkers. There's walkers inside the train cars, outside the train cars. Everyone's surrounded, even though we see Shriek and her people. I keep calling her name Shriek, is that right? Get into the train cars, no problem. They don't hear the gunfire to take out the walkers. Like, what happened to all that? But either way, Adrian and June are there waiting for Dwight and Sherry to turn on the auxiliary power or the backup power at the back of the train. Dwight and Sherry go on top of the train, go back, turn on the power, and come back. And instead of going back quickly, they talk and fall into a train car that has a bunch of walkers in it. And it's chaotic, and Dwight takes out a bunch of walkers with his gun. It's pretty loud, like during the episode. I'm sure it'll be super loud in the train car, so it would have been nice or relevant to comment about that. And I couldn't help but be reminded of season 11 of The Walking Dead with the train cars and everything that happened down there. But all the walkers that are here, Dwight and Sherry kill the walkers and or escape into a safe spot, but they need help because they get, again, trapped by the walkers inside the train car. So June goes after to help them. They have a radio and they're like, no, don't. You have to, do the surgery. But Dwight and Sherry are trapped, and June to the rescue. So as June is walking through train cars, we see a bunch of heads, of zombie heads, and stuff reminds me of the governor with his zombie head trophies and heads in jars research, very scientific lab, post-apocalyptic. And I have to mention the no smoking sign right here in the red letters right here. You see it, it's pretty obvious, jumps out at you. Also, there's a red train car and a red door and red, all I see is red. But I don't know why June didn't kill these walkers that were chained up. Like, as you're walking by them, wouldn't you have a knife on you too? Like, it's pretty important to have a knife, pistol, backup knife, backup pistol, whatever, be prepared to take out walkers there. But as she's walking through them, they're chained up and, something's going to happen. And it does. So she gets to the end where the door is locked. She can't get through it. And even as she's walking, there's one walker that has an arm that's free. Why didn't the walker grab her? The continuity of things here with walkers is laughable in the Walking Dead universe. Not just Fear the Walking Dead, the Walking Dead universe, all Walking Dead shows. But the walkers break free and she shoots and shoots, but she gets way too close to one of the walkers and the walker knocks the gun out of her hands as she's down there fighting with the walker. Adrian comes in and saves the day, and June's like, get out of here. I told you not to stay. It was kind of funny when he was like, yeah, aren't you glad I didn't listen? And she's like, I told you not to listen. What are you doing? So as Dwight and Sherry are trapped, June, Adrian, and Finch, yes, Finch, the person who's supposed to have an operation for his appendicitis, saves Dwight and Sherry by killing the walkers. So if you have an appendicitis, you don't want to get out of bed most likely. Or, it comes and goes. You have waves of pain. And he kills some walkers. And as they're talking, Dwight and Sherry decide to tell Finch that they're his parents. He doesn't believe them. And nothing really comes of it because he gets, some pain and doesn't feel good and is like, oh, I got to go back. I got to go have surgery. So he finally gets to have surgery after all this time. So all this chaos is leading to his surgery as they're going to take him back. Adrian looks through the train cars and sees a walker by the door. And through this dark picture, he's like, that's my daughter. He instantly knows that this walker, zombie, Carry-On, whatever, it's a terrible name, Carry-On for walkers, is his daughter. He freaks out. June talks about that Shriek is the one that made her do it, and it's this and that, and it's just like, it wasn't her, she was forced to do it. But Adrian decides, I'm going to go end my life because without my daughter, I have nothing to live for. So he walks through the train cars, and everybody looks on, and it's very sad. But Fear the Walking Dead loves to do this. They love to bring in new characters for one episode and then kill them off. Hence the red theory. Red shirts. Red shirt theory. And you see the red on the door. You see the red on the train car. The red on the walls. And even though he's got like a maroon type of sleeves on his shirt, he looks through the glass and they have a moment, and it's sad because he's been looking for his daughter all this time. And he's going to go into the room and be devoured by walkers. And I guess become a walker himself, right? But again, can't help but notice and point out the red door, the red train car right before, it stands out right there, right before he gets killed. So the red theory strikes again, right? So it's one of those things where this guy came and went, and it's kind of sad, but not that sad because we didn't really know him very much. So I'm guessing the surgery went well, and June is stitching up Finch's surgical site. And he's recovering with the oxygen on and, or the anesthesia on. And he's passed out. So as they're all talking, they're like, okay, we're not going to go back to Padre and your family. And we're going to do this. And we have to work together. And we have to stick together. And they're talking about what to live for. And, without June and John, they saved Dwight. And, they're trying to repay the favor. You got to keep people around that you love and you care about, your family. But then Shriek, is that her name? Again, I can't say it right. But Shriek shows up with her people. And I'm not sure why these people look like they're in the Middle East with the stuff on their face and their head. I guess it's COVID, or I guess this is what they're going for here. And you would think that other people would continue with the research. Like it wouldn't just be June. And if June wasn't going to do it anymore, why didn't you just destroy the train car and just blow it up or put it on fire? But June is knocked out. And I don't know how long she's knocked out for, but she wakes up and she looks at Shriek, and that's what I'm calling her, Shriek. And so she's like, yeah, it was you. How did you find us? How did you find me? Well, we put two and two together that you were the one taking the fingers, and then we find out that she lost her finger. And I have to notice it's the left hand. Is that your trigger finger, or are you just right-handed? So you don't want to be missing a right finger when it's your dominant side, your dominant hand, because how are you going to grab things. But it's ultimately, they're going to set an example here. So Shriek talks about June and what they did here and how they were trying to save people, and they saved people and they didn't kill anybody. So they're working on a cure. So this is one of the first times you really see the cure angle. Maybe a little bit on World Beyond. It's debatable where they've really done this, but they're trying to use radiation and a cure to do this. And it's interesting because I didn't think that they were going to have the walker bite Finch. I thought they were going to stop it right before. But they put the walker head in the device, and it comes towards Finch, and Dwight and Sherry are freaking out. And we're like, nah, they're going to stop it, right? No, there's no way that they're going to let this happen. And it sucks because if you were Dwight and Sherry, there's nothing you could do. But they decide to let the walker actually bite into Finch, which is going to cause June to have to live, to have to continue on with the research because to save Finch's life. And I think she's going to do it. So June comes up with the cure. Is that what we're going to come up with here in the final season of Fear the Walking Dead? Which is kind of crazy that they did this. It's just like, man, this show is going to come up with the cure angle with this Padre story arc, which hopefully should be connected to CRM, because I really hope that really happens. We're still looking for that, connections there. It's been very minor connections with CRM and Fear the Walking Dead, but Dwight and Sherry are told to leave, and Dwight's like, I'm going to kill you, to Shriek, and she's like, why would you do that? I'm the only one that can save him. Well, we are. So Dwight, Sherry get taken out, and June loses a finger. So Shriek's like, nah, there's one last thing to do. I'm going to take your finger, which is really going to help things when you're going to have June grab things, pinch, pull, be able to use her hands, right? And especially if she's right-handed. Awesome. Way to do that, right? So, I mean, it's an eye for an eye, and I understand why it is, but you're like, hey, you're going to work for us without a finger. Like, it's just kind of dumb. It's like when Negan killed the doctor because of Dwight. Like, that's pretty dumb. But you don't want to be a medical professional in the zombie apocalypse in the Walking Dead universe. That's for sure. And the episode ends with Morgan and Madison in this transport from Padre. So they're talking, and Madison's like, why are you doing this? Why are you a wuss? Why are you not protecting Mo? And why do you think Padre's better off raising and protecting Mo? It just kind of doesn't make sense in my opinion. But Madison, puts on a front that she's not doing well, and she collapses. And the Padre people, it kind of looks like a CRM style truck. There's just no logos on it. But Madison lays there as the Padre people come to help her, that she needs oxygen, because she kind of does need oxygen. And Madison was doing this all along as a ploy. So as they're trying to help her, she kind of just like pushes it, falls out of the truck. It's just kind of a weird thing. Like, how did she end up this way? She's just like, oh, and she goes down, and she decides to help Morgan escape. As she's laying there, she hits one of the Padre people with a punch, and they're wrestling, and Morgan's like, okay, what do I do? Do I help? Do I do anything? So he stands there, and then he jumps down and runs away. So Morgan actually is saved by Madison, which is a heroic way that it's good to see. Madison's been doing a little bit more things here in the first two episodes. Like, I don't like the Madison character as a whole, but she helps Morgan. Again, CRM style with the black colors on the truck. We don't see the logos or the 3-ring logo, but Lenny James jumps down. Morgan jumps down, sorry. And Madison's like, go, get away, go, do it, get out of here, do what you got to do. So I'm guessing Morgan is going to get away and find Daniel and like the rebels that are going to go against Padre, and then they're going to save Madison. You got to save Madison, right? But Morgan's like, oh, okay. He doesn't try to help Madison whatsoever. He's like, you're on your own, and he just runs away. He just scurries into the marsh, the swampland area, and like I said, Madison is like, go, go. She says something to Morgan, but either way, Morgan's face is like he's sprinting away. Just like, yeah, I'm out later. Like, you're on your own. I just can't, don't try to help her at all, But Morgan runs away, and that's the end of the episode. But if you remember the teaser trailer that came out months ago for this season of Fear the Walking Dead, I want to highlight something that's going to prove that June is successful in saving Finch. So again, spoiler warning here, pretty big spoiler warning. So in the teaser trailer, we see Dwight and Sherry hugging Finch. I'm guessing this is Finch right here. And so unless this is a flashback, I'm guessing that June is successful in finding a cure for the zombie bite because we saw Finch get bit, which is pretty interesting. So we'll have to see where that takes us. But there you go, guys. Season 8, Episode 2 in the books of Fear the Walking Dead. A much better episode, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope the episodes get better and better and better, but we'll have to see. Stay safe, and as always, tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you.